is in the regular past tense. Right? All right. So we are doing, when it comes to our regular past tense, right? Regular past tense, it tells us about something that has happened already, right? Or something that has already happened. And when we talk about the regular past tense, right? And then our regular past tense, the verb of the regular past tense, it ends with ed. So it's either the verb ends with ed or the verb ends with d. And that shows the regular past tense. And the regular past tense, like we say, tells us about something that has already happened. Anything that happened earlier on, anything that happened yesterday, last week, last month, last year, those are all things that is in the past. And if something is in the past, and then it means that we add ed to our word, or we add ed to our verb to show that it is in the past tense. And if we look at an example of our regular past tense, then it says, we washed the car a few days ago. So our regular past tense verb would then be washed. Because if we were to write that sentence in the present as if it's happening now, we would say that we only wash the car, right? So we wash the car. But now, if we want to make mention of something that happened a few days ago, we can say we washed, and as you can see, we added an ed, the car a few days ago. And that word washed, right, is the verb within the regular past tense, and we added an ed to show that something had happened already. And if we look at a few examples, right, of our regular past tense, think of, um, let's see, if we think of a few words, let me rather type the word, and then let's say laugh. So in the present we laugh, right? But then in the past, things something that happened already, we can say we laughed. And as you can see, we add an ed. And if we look at another word, then we can say dance. Something that we're doing now. We are dancing, right? We dance. And in the past tense, right? We can just add a D to that word, not ed, a D, because already our word ends with an E. So we can say danced. We danced to the music. If we look at a few more examples of our regular past tense, think of the word play. I play outside with my friends. It didn't start yet. The maths. Let me just find out for you guys. And if we look at if we play, right, play is something that we're doing now. And if we think of play, or if we think of it as in the past tense, right, to show that we did it already or something that happened already, and then we say played. Then we have another word, jump. And if we were to identify the jump, but in the past tense, to show that it has happened already, guys, the Miss Maria is live with the maths. So the math is currently live. Were you guys able to log into the maths? And if we were to show jump within the past tense, then we can say jumped. Guys, are you able to do you see the math live classes? Guys, the math live classes, it is live currently, eh? All right. So we see that if we look at these words in the past tense, like for example, jump, then in the past tense, I jumped, right? And once we add an ed to the word, and then it basically shows that something has already happened, right? It shows that something has already happened. Let's look at another word, listen. What is the past tense of listen? What's the past tense of watch? Finish, walk, opened, and visit. What is the past tense of these few words? What is the past tense of listen, watch, finish, walk, open, visit, open and visit? Remember I said that with our regular past tense, all we do is we add an ed to show our regular past tense, or to show the verb within the past tense. It's to show that something had already happened. All right. And if we were to look at words, let's say these few words, but in the past tense to show that it has already happened, right? Then with listen, I can say I listened. Watch, we say watched, and we add an ed. I finish my project now. Yesterday, I finished my other project. Finished. I walked to school and I opened the door. And after school, I visited my friend. Right? These are, and if you look at all of these words, right? These words that we have over here, which is laughed, and ends with an ed, danced, ends with a d, played, jumped, listened, watched, finished, walked, opened, and visited. These are words that tells us about something that has already happened. And like I say, the words end with an ed and it shows that it has already happened. Actions that happened already. Things that we did that happened already. And that is why we call them regular past tense, but it's regular past tense verbs. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we are going to identify verbs in the regular past tense. And we see that in the past tense usually tells us about something that has already happened. And regular past tense verbs, it ends in ed. All right. And if we look at our sentence, it says select the past tense verb. We need to select the past tense verb. It says the tiger roared. The tiger roared. What is the past tense verb within that sentence? Is it the? Is it tiger? Is it roared? We need to select the past tense verb within that sentence. All right. And if we were to select our past tense verb, and then we can say our past tense verb is roared. Because it's something that the tiger did. Roared. So the tiger roared. And if we select our verb, remember the verb is something that either the person, animal, or thing is doing. So roared, right? And as you can see, roared ended with an ed, right? And it tells us about something that had already happened. All right, we need to select the past tense verb. It says Seth cleaned the sink. Seth cleaned the sink. We need to select the past tense verb. All right, and if we were to select our past tense verb within that sentence, it says Seth cleaned the sink. So if we were to show or identify the something that Seth did, and then it means that Seth cleaned the sink. So cleaned is something that Seth did. Right? So cleaned. And as we can see, cleaned even ends with an ed. All right. And now we're going on to the next one before we go on to a test. It says, I piled up the blocks. I piled up the blocks. We need to select the past tense verb. I piled up the blocks. All right. And if we were to select our past tense verb within that sentence, and then we can say, I piled. So piled is our past tense verb, right? So piled is something that the person did. All right. So now let's go to our test, where we are going to select the regular past tense. And remember, we said that with the regular past tense, the rule is that we can add an ed or we add a d to show what happened already, right, in the past. All right, we need to select the past tense verb. It says, my sister teased me. My sister teased me. Is it option one, teased, or option two, me? We need to select the past tense verb. Is it option one or option two? And if we were to select our past tense verb within that, basically within that sentence, And then, yes, we will choose option one because option one is teased. And we basically only added a D because the word tease, right, is already a word on its own. And if we add the letter D, and then it shows the past tense, right? The verb in the past tense. It shows basically something that had happened already. And teased is correct. Option one. Jesse closed the book. Jesse closed the book. We need to select the past tense verb. Is it closed, option one, or is it book, option two? Which one is correct? And if we were to select the past tense verb, then we can say closed, right? So close the book. It shows us something that Jesse did. Jesse closed the book. So closed is our regular past tense verb. The next one says the plane landed. The plane landed. We need to select the regular past tense verb that shows that something had already happened. Do we say our regular past tense verb is option one, plane, or is option two, landed? Which one is correct? Plane, option one, or landed, option two? So option one or option two? Do we say option one, plane, or option two, landed, to show our regular past tense verb? And if we were to select our regular past tense verb, then we will say it is option two, which is landed. And it basically shows us what happened to the plane, right? The plane landed. So landed is option two, and it ends with an ed. All right, so landed is correct. We need to select the past tense verb. It says, I tied my shoe. I tied my shoe. We need to select the past tense verb. Is it option one, tied, or option two, shoe? Tied or shoe? And if we were to select our past tense verb, right? And then we will say our past tense verb within that sentence. It is option one. Yes, it's the first option, which is tied, right? So basically, we just added a D to that word because if that word were to stand on its own in the present, then we would say it's tie. But in the past, we added a D, so it's tied. Something that I did, I tied my shoe. So well done. The first one is correct. The boy changed his shirt. The boy changed his shirt. What is our past tense verb? Is it changed or is it shirt? Option one, changed, or option two, shirt. And if we were to select our past tense verb, right, within that sentence, and then we will say, yes, once again, the first option is correct. And the first option is changed. It is something that the boy did. He changed his shirt. So changed is correct. The next one says, we climbed the hill. We climbed the hill. We need to select the past tense verb within that sentence. We climbed the hill. Is it option one, climbed, or is it option two, hill? So option one, climbed, or option two, hill. All right, and if we were to select our correct our correct past tense verb, then yes, we will say option one, climbed. And climbed is our correct past tense verb. So well done. Now we say we timed the race. We timed the race. We need to select the past tense verb. Timed the race. Is it option one, timed, or option two, race? We timed the race. We need to select the correct past tense or the regular past tense verb within that sentence. Is it option one, timed, or is it option two, race? And if we were to select our correct past tense verb, then yes, we will say option one, it is timed. Well done. Timed is correct. And as you can see, we only added a D to that word to show our regular past tense, something that happened already. The baby crawled away. The baby crawled away. We need to select the regular past tense verb. The baby crawled away is our regular past tense verb. Crawled, option one, or baby, option two. Crawled, option one, or baby, option two. What is our regular past tense verb? So is it option one, crawled, or is it option two, baby? Which one is correct? And if we were to choose our correct past tense verb, right, then yes, we will choose option one, which is crawled. Because now it shows us what the baby did and it shows us what the baby had already done, right? So the baby crawled away. All right, so we're just going to focus on that one lesson for today. In our next lesson, we will continue, or in our session, we will continue with regular past tense verbs, right? And we said regular past tense verbs or regular past tense, it basically tells us about something that had already happened, right? It's something that happened in the past. And if something had happened in the past, and then it means that we must follow a rule by either adding ed or adding d to our specific verb to show that something had happened in the past. All right. And we made a few examples of regular past tense verbs where we added either ed or we added d to show the regular past tense verb. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade twos, for joining our class. And I really hope that you're going to have a good day further. So, till next time, goodbye.